Jai Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. Hari Om to everybody. Today is our Param Pujya Mataji's 33rd Mahasamadhi Day. The morning at Premnagar we intensely remembered. Yesterday also we had quite a good gathering there. And we were playing what Papa said about Mataji. And what is expected of us by Mataji. So today, we should not feel she is inside now in the form of remembrance, watching us whether we are trying our level best to widen our circle of now. As we all know, Mataji will never tolerate pettiness. She wanted every one of us to expand in our own way, bringing in the care and concern of as many people as possible. Yesterday we were reading in Premnagar. Mataji, as usual, she was feeling bad that in spite of our going to ashram and meeting them and going through many of these things, hearing them. If I remember the words are like this. You spend a lot of money to come to ashram. You take pains to come here. But all of things will be of no avail if you don't enter into Papa's mansion, which is inside. So our body is Papa's mansion. Papa knows she addresses God as Papa, the all-pervading reality. Whether we try to enter or whether we still remain outside and praising them and complimenting them and then going back. So Mataji emphatically declared that all these things will be of no avail if we don't undertake this inward journey. Did we cover that in the day first yesterday?
Yes, Swamiji.
So we again remember that. But somehow we have to now try. When everything has been facilitated to us, as their spiritual children, our effort should be to somehow make an earnest effort to take to this inward journey to change their effort. So on this day we prostrate before Pujya Mataji mentally and pray to her to somehow put us on the rails and give us the necessary intensity from inside and speed up our efforts. You have anything else from anybody?
Hari Om Swamiji. Mataji always talked about Deha Buddhi and Visva Buddhi. Can you elaborate, Swamiji?
Whenever we think in terms of individual, whenever we evaluate things based upon the individual, whenever we react to events and individuals on the individual level, it is all Deha Buddhi. But when we try to raise a little higher, we are moving towards this Visva Buddhi. Easy way to understand, as we normally share, from where we are now sitting, we can see only a limited circle of people, limited circle of objects. But when we go to the terrace, our vision will be widened. When we go to the mountain top, again it will be widened. When we travel in the aircraft, so like that, as we raise higher and higher from the present level, we will be able to have a comprehensive vision. So here, in the spiritual language, if we try to raise ourselves from the me-to-me level, in all our dealings, whether it is household, whether it is in the field of profession or with the society, we will be able to raise ourselves. We will be able to have a comprehensive view. We will be free from our own prejudices, our own fixed notions, our own preconceived biased attitude or attachment or aversion, whatever it may be. So Mataji always wanted us to raise ourselves from Deha Buddhi to Visva Buddhi. There will be lot of inadequacies or disorders when we do it from the individual level. Today when we were coming, we were stopped by the police. And so the devotee who took us asked him why. Then he said, election is there, so we have to check. So the dicky was to be open, probably our bag, or this time we took a suitcase or something. So it had to be open. So naturally, we don't feel anything wrong. Because of certain things happening, the government has given directions that all vehicles have to be checked. Because they feel, people carry money to buy food, something like that. But if you view it from the individual level, we may feel why they should do it. But when we raise ourselves to a little more than the individual, if the statute requires, we go along with it. They don't have any individual prejudice towards us. As a part of their routine checkup, they stop in the vehicle, we have to open, we have to show, that's all. So even from the minutest, we will not become upset if we try to raise from our individual level. Mataji wanted every one of us to raise from that individual level to a higher level and ultimately reach the Visva Buddhi. It is good that you raised, because we should always be reminding ourselves. All our judgments are based from the individual standpoint, We define what is comfort, discomfort, convenience, inconvenience, deficiencies, fullness, contentment, everything we have got our own definition. We view it from the individual level. And whenever there is any threat to it, any challenge to it, we feel disturbed. And all our responses are based upon that. So as a spiritual aspirant, we should try, and saints are models for us, that they have risen from the individual level to a higher level.
Swamiji, Swamiji, Mataji's petty is I mean, but petty.
Pettiness.
She is not pettiness, isn't it? Can you give
narrow-mindedness. Where there is me and mine only, that is called pettiness. Even for a small thing, we make such a big issue. If we raise ourselves to a higher level, we will be able to reconcile, accommodate, give space to others. If you only confine ourselves to me and mine, then we become petty, narrow-minded, which Mataji doesn't want. Mataji wants always, we should be broad enough to accommodate, to think in terms of the welfare of others, to bring in as many as possible in our love circle, and do not always bother about the me and mine only.
And actually, Swamiji, when I read that, Mataji was telling, you are up to gate, you were there, and after going outside, you forget, you won't come inside the house. I was thinking, really, he's telling that people, devotees coming up to the gate only, they see some inside and they go without any, that means, it's a formality, not, they are not interested in this, like they understood. Simply as a quickly they come to this thing ashram, and I was thinking like that. But you are,
it's not like that. We all go to ashram when Mataji was there, we find joy in it, but the only thing is we limit it to the sentimental level or emotional level, that's all. We are very happy, not that we don't mean anything. With all enthusiasm we go there to be a person. But what happens is we limit ourselves. We don't try to hear or assimilate or absorb or learn what Mataji stands for, what her ideas are, how she became a Vishwamata from the mother of two children. If we can try to understand that, then it's okay. So Mataji meant only that. Mataji is not belittling the importance of the devotees coming there. But she said it will not serve you the purpose. Sentiments and emotions are there only for a short while. But whereas if we go deeply, what Mataji said, or what Papa said, and if we try to imbibe or assimilate and try to daily life, that will stay with us always. The other one will not stay with us. It will stay with us only at the emotional level. Unfortunately, unknowingly, it had happened to many of us. We did not go deeper into their teaching. A simple book like Satsang Ramdas or glimpses, we have not gone through it with earnestness. But it contains the quintessence of all that Papa stands for. Or Mataji's Guru's grace. We all say Papa Mataji, but we unknowingly, we limit ourselves to their darshan. What personally they have, what we personally feel get from them. She was very particular to give us prasad. She gave us this, she gave us that. That is at the individual level. That is not what Mataji wanted. Mataji wanted all of us to graduate from our personal level to a higher level. So even now that it is not too late, we try to go through their wisdom teachings and make an earnest effort to bring as many as possible into our life.
Hari Om Swamiji.
Hari Om.
Swamiji, Ganeshan ji from Ramana was the conversation between Mataji and himself, so which was influencing many. So I was one of the person to hear when he came to Hyderabad, Ramana Kendram, he narrated this incident. He said, even though you may belong to the clan of Bhagavan Ramana Maharshi, you may be a grandson, that means his brother's grandson, so son of son. You have to earn your own bread and butter. That means in terms of moksha. So then he asked what I remember, he was telling to us. He asked, what should we do? What should I do now? Then she told to Ganeshanji that you bring all the devotees who served Bhagavan when he was there and serve these people. So 63 people he brought them and served. Even though few of them were little furious at times, and that was a great incident. So that means he was being given title as fireman. That means the last rite, he is the only Ganeshanji only who has done all the last rites of these devotees who have come to Bhagavan. So what it always points out is that we have to earn our own bread and butter, means we have to do our work to the highest, as you always tell, from me to we, me to we, me to we. So this is a touching instance, and after 63 people whom he brought it, he went back to Mataji and asked, I have brought them everything I have done. Is there anything to do? Nothing, your work is done, your work is over. Serving them is serving Bhagavan, that's what. So it was a touching incident, which I even remember 3 years back, he told when he came to Ramana Kendram. So that was an incident which I remember because we don't know Mataji directly or Papaji directly. Through Bhagavan's books only, Balaram Reddy Garu's books, we used to read. But after we came in contact with you, Swamiji, so now we are having more connectivity. We could able to understand what Mataji's words are, what Papaji's words are. So that I just want to share. I have to earn my own bread and butter. I have to earn my own bread and butter. So that's great.
Yes, yes. When Ganeshana visited ashram, he also shared all these. He feels Mataji gave the right direction when he needed some direction. The greatest service God made him to do was to locate the old devotees and look at the way in which Mataji deals with people. Nobody else can do it except Ganeshana there. Because Ganeshana only knows who are Bhagavan's devotees.
Yes.
So, when probably he must have asked for suggestion or something, and then Mataji must have spontaneously given this. Because Mataji wants, at least one people, if you expand your love circle, Mataji will be supremely happy. Not that you have to go and embrace the whole world. That means if we try to move from our present level to a little more higher, Mataji knows that we are on the path. Not limiting ourselves to me and mine. This is what, yesterday even in our Satsang at Premnagar we were remembering what Pujya Swami shared with us. And probably he has written that in the Silver Jubilee souvenir also. But even when in 1954 when Papa Mataji set up the world tour, at Bombay, silently she was collecting, She was collecting woolen clothes, so many things. So, Pujya Swamiji, when he saw this, he asked Mataji, we are going to Western countries, they are all rich. They are all well-to-do people. Then Mataji looked at him and said, there will still be somebody who needs all these things.
That's really great.
And Swamiji's touching words. And during this, nobody knew. She had got a knack of locating the people who needed it. Whether it was in US, whether it was in London, whether it was in Japan, whether it was in any other place, So, because her concern is only that. Her priority is only that. When Papa, you must have, many of you might have heard that video. I will try now, I am not sure. Whether you will be able to hear, I don't know. Huh? Mother Shaman. Can you hear?
Yes. No, Swamiji.
Swamiji, increase the sound. Increase the sound, Swamiji.
Not spirituality. There, we are not reading the entire thing, but there are some touching moments. Even among relations, you don't find such dealing. You have no other. Even with the daughter and son, you don't get such dealing. Something different altogether. There also there is some feeling of give and take. I can feel it. So there is the hands are only to give. Heart is only to think for others. Body is only to toil for others. That is how Papa portrays Mataji. And Papa openly says that, but here there is no tall talk, no lectures, lived out life lived out. There is no. In that spirit of oneness. Therefore, Mataji may be called the embodiment of universal love and service in the truest sense. Embodiment. You cannot imagine in what way her mental machinery is working. It is always working. It is very touching. Ramdas can imagine to some extent how to do good to others, how to serve somebody, how to relieve the sufferings of others. If she is not able to do as much as she should feel, then she is very unhappy, she is miserable. Her misery is there and she is not able to give to some person who need help as much as she wants. A heart that is made only to feel for others. Hands only to give to others. Body to toil and serve for others. Self-interest, selfishness, selfish views and ideas are totally absent. Compared to her, Ramdas is nothing. To tell you the truth, Ramdas is a talker. She is the doer. Whom do you prefer? Doer, not a talker. This is the truth. You cannot deny it. Ramdas does not try to unnecessarily belittle himself. To show that he is a very humble person. That is not it. That's a fact. Incontrovertible fact. Entire truth, that is it. Somebody asked, who made Mataji like this? Papa replied, Ramdas had no hand in it. Ramdas can tell you she came prepared for it. And in teaching Ramdas what the true life is, she flowered and blossomed. See the way in which Papa has put. In teaching what it is to lead a life beyond all duality. Live in the absolute impersonal reality, then live and move in the world. This lesson she came to teach Ramdas by practicing it before him. The lesson she came to teach. Ramdas was having his own experiences and he was clinging to certain forms. Form means some forms of life controlled by certain regulations. Some rules. She came and broke all them to pieces. Although she calls Ramdas Guru and all that, Ramdas can say that the reverse is the truth. That nobody knows and she does not want to make anybody know it. And if she hears Ramdas talking in this strain, she will take objection. What are you talking? To that extent she is selfless. To that extent she is egoless. She puts everything on Ramdas. That is the beauty of her life. She has got some peg on which she hangs on, the ego. The ego, you see, is hanging on a peg, and that peg is here, showing her. And she is without ego in working. There must be some peg on which you must hang your coat. Somebody asked, who sent her to Papa? Who sent her to Papa? Papa said, he who is in the heart of everybody sent her. Universal truth. Is it not the same with Papa? Think about it. The same universal Ram, who is not. Then did not Papa call her? Ramdas never called her. She came one day to the ashram in Kasaragod. She came to Kasaragod staying with some relations there. One day she heard, you see, that there was one sadhu living in an ashram. And she and her sister-in-law in a group came. That was the first contact, after which she started coming every day. She found the atmosphere and conditions were favorable for remembering God constantly. Therefore she came. Who called her? It is not a question of calling. Ramdas did not write her a letter, come. Or send word to her, come. Nothing of that kind. She came. All bluff, pure gas. That's gas. Where is the inner and outer call? The inner call is the call of the divine that dwells everywhere in the entire universe. It was that universal God, you see, that prompted her to come. Anyhow, we are not going through the entire video.
Beautiful conversation. I heard, and it was the peg, particularly peg on which it is. Which peg? So that was the most beautiful one. Suitable peg is found, so she kept her ego on that peg. That was one of the beautiful ones.
Portrayal by Papa himself, If anybody else says, it is by a Mahatma who has scaled the heights and has the universal vision and established in universal truth. He, for the sake of all of us, he is trying to portray the real Mataji before us. So on the 33rd Mahatma Day, we remember these words. And to know that all these things came because in 2.5 years, that also we should not forget. In 2.5 years, she was able to scale the heights. Think about the intensity, the vairagya, the commitment, the perseverance, the patience. And because Papa made her to go through severe tests, severest tests. And she was hardly 25 years. And to move from the Deha Buddhi to Visva Buddhi in such a short time, we cannot say it was a miracle. Papa made her, God made her to go through the severest test, and she scaled the height. And after scaling the height, still she dropped her body. She was honestly, sincerely maintaining the same stand that everything was because of Papa. Her life, when we go through that that itself is a great sadhana. We need not break our head with what she said, but to study her, the journey from the mother of her two children to the mother of all. And those who were blessed to have her darshan and contact will know it probably a little more easier than others. To her there was no stranger. So she teaches what is spirituality, We are not, she doesn't like anybody complimenting, praising her. What she wanted was all of us should try to raise from our individual level to a higher level, again higher, like that. You remember she will first say you respect your parents, you love your parents, then your relations, then your friends. Like that she will say. She wanted that love circle to be enhanced. She did not change her dress. She did not change her name. As if Papa said, no tall talk. She will not quote any scriptures. She had the highest regard for all Mahatmas. Highest regard for all those who have mastered the scriptures. But we have rarely seen Mataji quoting anything from scriptures. So that means whatever that has to be assimilated or absorbed from scriptures or Mahatma's life and teaching, she was conveying to us that it should be translated into our very life. Otherwise it will be of no use accepting an academic satisfaction, an intellectual satisfaction, that's all. So what we mean is, to go through her life itself is a good sadhana, and then try, this is how she did, this is how she did. She did not get stuck with anything in between. That is why in the shortest possible time, like 2.5 years. And even after that, we all know from Papa's words, from old devotees' words. The Swamiji joined in ashram in 1949. Ashram was started in 31. After joining, whatever Swamiji could see for himself, he shared with us. But that 18 years, the initial stages, when she was cooking for everybody by herself, she was bringing water, she was taking care of the praying body of Papa. At that time when people arrived in the night train, no electricity, no gas, without any grumbling or complaint, she used to brew firewood. She used to cook and eat, finding joy. Apart from that, she used to take up lots of activities like taking care of the children, taking care of we have even heard from the words of, from the mouth of our old workers, that she used to even go for their delivery. no midwife. Whenever she happens to hear about anything, somebody is in labor pain and nobody is there. At that time, hospital facility, medical facility was not there. Mataji husband will go and serve as a midwife. So like that, sky was the limit for her. And it was not seva for her. Because to her, everybody was her children. So the raising from the Visva Buddhi, Deha Buddhi to Visva Buddhi, practically demonstrating before us, from the minutest to the grossest, not any lectures. That's why Papa said no tall talk, no lectures, no provision. But it was a life lived out. That's a beautiful word, Papa. It was a life lived out. In line with all these teachings. This is a powerful message for all of us. Anyway, she is today kindling so many things in our mind. Dwell on it. Yes. Anything else? We all owe to her only, because but for her the ashram would not have come. Papa by himself would not have set up the ashram at all. Only because of Mataji. She was the planner, she was the executor, everything.
Swamiji, Hari Om Swamiji.
Hari Om.
Saturday we spoke about one point that whenever people would come, then to show their gratitude, they would praise and all. Then Mataji would say, you always come here, give certificate and then go. And turn your back to Papa. That is not Papa outside. People had gratitude and feeling of thankfulness. But that time they would not understand that what is turning their back on Papa. So then now it is that point or idea is more clear. That to try to find him within is the thing that she wanted all of us to do. Because on individual level, people end up then by showing thankfulness or gratitude or something. They don't know what is expected of them beyond that. Now they understand that Mataji wanted that they should try to go within, and though it is difficult because our eyes and everything show us outside world. So how to go within? There is no path. There is no path for that. So that whatever thinking has to be done, nobody knew how to think about it. So now that path is being opened now. So we all have thankfulness to Swamiji that path is slowly, we are getting it into our head.
Mataji would be very happy to hear all these words. Sorry, Mama, we did not understand when you talked to us many decades ago. But you have now mysteriously made us to understand those words. And for the past 2-3 days in Premnagar, this was the thought she gave. Especially when you go through the small book called The Great Void, where she talks about Papa to understand him, from the earth to sky, there is a space, She says that is Papa. So she wanted to convey what exactly she wanted us to plumb deep within. So when then later on she said, when I take anything, I used to say, this is Papa, this is Papa, this is Papa. Then also we did not understand, But now, slowly, it is opening up. All of us can try this. When you now know that you are hearing, when you know that you are sitting, when you know that you are that knowing entity, the knowing principle, that knowing truth, that knowing reality is with us, has been with us. So we try to remember. There is no time when that, in the form of life force, in the form of awareness, God is away from us. Whether we remember Him or not, whether we adore Him or not, whether we deny Him or not, whether we ignore Him or not, His awareness does not leave us. So let us all try to practice. For example, when we take to mental chanting of Ram Nam, even for 5 minutes or 10 minutes, prior to chanting, that awareness is there. During the chanting, that awareness is there. After the chanting, the awareness is there. That means the awareness has been with us. So right from morning, wherever it is possible, whenever it is possible, we will try to bring in this rule. Suppose we can say in another word, awareness bath or consciously doing it. No? Consciously doing means we have paved the way for the watcher in us to come. Papa used to say, the watcher is the real you, present immortal. So the watcher is there, no, even now. That is why words are heard, sights are seen. Just start thinking. When Mataji wanted us to go inward and to feel His presence, Papa's mansion, you should not stand outside and glorify and go back. You must tap the door and then try to enter. It's a flowery language, agreed, but in reality, how can we do it? We try to become conscious of His presence in the form of life force intertwined with awareness. These two we can easily, it is not a tall talk. When Papa said life is the expression of Atman, those seemingly do, they are what? First stage, we all know how the so-called the life force in how we live. We know that it is because of the life force expressing through act, heartbeat, blood circulation, breathing, digestion, and so on. Papa has beautifully described about what is spirituality. So that gives us some clues. So it is there. We don't need somebody to come and say that life force is there in us. Second thing is knowing principle. We all know directly now. So these two, we are unable to keep up because the thought comes, Deha Buddhi thought comes, and it becomes opaque for us to see the reality behind. So by earnestly trying, we try to get over the opaqueness and somehow get into translucent state, where we know He is there, but we are not very clear. And then every time, suppose we try to remember, and we start the dialogue with Him, from the translucent to the transparent stage, we will be traveling. Now and then it will become clear. And if we do that, rest of the things will be done by Him. Even to transcend the transparent becoming one with Him. So let us all try now. On this 33rd Mahasamadhi day, when Mataji wanted all of us to go into the Papa's mansion, that means inside our house, we tried to travel with this. They have given us some clues. So early morning when we get up, we try. Suppose we are not in a position to bring in throughout our life, doesn't matter. Taking the brush, opening the tap in the wash basin, like that, we will try. That knowingly doing it, consciously doing it. Immediately the watcher comes, the watcher takes his position. And there is a watcher and the watched. knowing truth is there and the activity is there. So the activity is known by that. So we try to develop a closeness with that and let us see for ourselves how we take us forward. We must try in our own way as much time as possible. Every time we think or do, immediately we pray to her, bring this dimension in our heart, that's all. Knowing principle is there. I should know that the knowing principle is there. So that is why Papa said the easiest way is to take to mental chanting of Ram Nam. So that the watcher, you become, when we chant the mantra mentally, we know that the chanting is going on. That moment, the watcher has come to the field. That is why the awareness that the chanting is going on is felt. So let us all try that. No? We have to do this. Otherwise, again, Mataji will say, you quote your words, praising me, that's all. You are not doing again anything, which I want all of you to do. Because she wanted everyone to reach Papa's stage. That was their main complaint to Papa. Papa is not giving the necessary prompting to everybody. Though Papa said everyone has to grow by himself, as a mother, no, she did not accept it and she kept on taking Papa into task for that. In many of her letters which had appeared in the vision, after Papa dropping the body in 1953, there have been many letters she has written which had appeared in the vision. Everything she will report. She would have reported it mentally. There was no need for her to publish. Now we understand the purpose of publishing those letters. She wanted all of us to develop this attitude, reporting to the inner reality. Though in her case it was not necessary, for the sake of all of us. Yes, we remember now, immediately after the Mahasamadhi, when we started coming to ashram, the first task Swamiji gave us was to locate all these letters from the old issues, and on those days there was no computer, so we have to type it out. And we typed out and we remember. Now we also remember that Swamiji probably wanted us to travel with the letters intensely. Because when you type out, you have to read and think and type out, Unlike the computer, when you make a mistake, you have to type out the whole thing. One page, suppose you commit some mistake, and if you want to give to somebody a nil mistake page, you have to retype the whole thing. That means you go through the text again and again and again. So there were about, if you remember right, 20 to 25 letters. Mataji religiously reporting everything to Papa whenever there was any problem, any challenges faced by her in the ashram. So by that, she is now conveying to us like that you report, not reporting to an outer factor, reporting to him who is seated within. Meaning, developing an attitude of subservience, developing an attitude of reporting, developing an attitude of seeking opinion, direction, guidance. These are all the things probably she meant by going within the mansion. Please think over this. Those who have been associated with the ashram for the past 4 or 5 decades will definitely remember when she was in body till 1980, probably till 1984 or 85, definitely so many letters. Even a trivial matter that happens that has disturbed her, she will report. And she takes it. At the same time, the Visva Buddhi is there. Not at the Deha Buddhi level. you came in the form of a sadhu who behaved, you made him to behave like this. That is how she puts it. So, Papa, please don't bring your such forms. So, even while reporting, she never limits her to the Deha Buddhi and always thinks about the Visva Buddhi. If you go through the old division, you will find many. So now it is becoming clearer and clearer to us that we should develop that attitude. And that attitude will give us these two things. One is our subservience to a higher power within us, number one. Number two, as an innocent child reporting to his parents, So even if something disturbs me, when I handle things in all earnestness, I must report it to him. Though he knows, as a sadhaka, as a sense of individuality, I must report. That will give me a tangible relief. Yes, I have reported to him, now it is his responsibility. Though he is behind everything, since I have not handed over myself completely to him, I get the satisfaction that I have reported it to my higher authority, and then I am free. Kindly think about all this.
Swamiji,
Yeah.
this Deha Buddhi and body conscious are the same, Swamiji? Body consciousness and Deha Buddhi both are same. So they lose their body consciousness, they are going beyond that,
From the individual level. Deha Buddhi, Visva Buddhi, when she says, from the individual sense of individuality level, which includes body, mind, intellect, everything. Not only body. My preferences, my priorities, my likes, my dislikes, my rights, my wrongs. When I have caged myself in this, I am in Deha Buddhi. But when I think in a higher platform, I am slowly moving to the Visva Buddhi.
So Papa has told he lost his body consciousness, means that same thing, Swamiji? He lost his body consciousness.
Not only body, sense of individuality. Because the body, the mind and intellect function through the body, The body is not there, mind and intellect needs, it's only, mind and intellect is only one among the tools. Bhoga sadhanam. But you need an ayatanam, Bhoga ayatanam you need for the bhoga sadhanam to work. So the panchaprana, mano, buddhi, dashendriyam, all these things are the tools. So those need a platform, an ayatan. Whenever you go on a tour, what do you do first? You first book a room for you in a hotel, or an ashram or something. Because you need a place to start your activities. So similarly, without that place, we cannot. So we need that. So body is the base in which these tools are working. So when Deha Buddhi contains everything, the sense of individuality and all its activities. From there to a higher level, Visva Buddhi. To a higher level. Beyond the limitations of the body and mind intellect. So, being the 33rd Mahasamadhi day of Pujya Mataji, let us all try to assimilate as much as we can, That will be the biggest homage you will be paying. And she will be extremely happy. She will forgive our lapses, our insufficiencies, our neglect all these days. But she will be supremely happy. Oh, at last we have started turning towards Him who is inside. So in that way, we are all privileged ones, we are all blessed ones. And so we continue to.
Swamiji. I can ask one small question. See, we should pray to the God inside, So we can pray to the means Papa also same, Mataji also same, Pujya Swami, all same, same power only. The different form, same this thing, So we like that. When we pray to the inside, there is no form. Only one power.
That has been clarified by Papa himself. If you go through God experience, you will find he says, Papa Mataji is in everybody's heart, God is in everybody's heart, you are in everybody's heart.
Sir, you have told, many times you have told me.
So we don't limit to any personal. For our sake, for easy reference, we will say, in the form of Papa, in the form of Mataji, in the form of Bhagavan, in the form of Guru Maharaj, all those words we use. But ultimately it is one and the same. Whichever is convenient, comfortable, we feel comfortable, we can use. If Lord Krishna's form is comfortable, that we can use. If Papa's form is comfortable, we can use. Because this word, Papa Mataji is in everybody's heart, God is in everybody's heart, you are in everybody's heart.
Beautiful. Very nice.
Hari Om. Okay, we will try to meet you all.
Swamiji, that idea of reporting everything to him, so that may help us to be in touch with him and remind us individually that he did not look for him anywhere else. Otherwise, so far, we always thought that Papa Mataji is an ashram. That he may be everywhere, but predominantly and very focused, that he is always in ashram. So it is not so. So when we report everything to him in our heart, then it becomes more like
tremendous.
We are in touch. Yes, we are in touch with him every moment. Then,
just like children coming back from the school, reporting to mother or father everything, just imagine that. What a joy it was when we rushed to our parents and then reported, today this had happened in our school. Same thing, we will try to develop.
Swamiji, we can report, but how to know the instant reply? How to know the reply?
We will
know automatically.
We will definitely. You will get the reply, everything will come. Take him into task whenever he does not make you to feel so. Why are you keeping quiet? In your own language, there is no protocol, there is no formality, there is no officiality. It can be just like, you remember that you were a child, when you came home, with something, to share with your parents. Excitedly you said, and she gave you a patient hearing. Do you remember?
Yes.
Same.
Thank you, Swami.
Let us try to develop such an attitude.
Also, when the child reports everything to the parents, it becomes very light-hearted. Immediately it will forget whatever she said or he said. They will go out and play.
The mother will have the patience to hear and encourage the boy to, child to come out. So let us develop that. These are all methods by which we can have the closeness.
Wonderful.
Very, very happy we were able to remember her intensely today by her grace. So we will try to meet you tomorrow. We will be in Vaina tomorrow, Papa will.
It works, Swamiji. It works, and when it works, Swamiji. It works. It works. Now, immediately we can talk to it. It works. It is working. Working. Whenever it is experience, Swamiji. It is not necessary. It is experience.
Very happy to hear this.
It is experience.
Okay then. Hari Om. Om Shri Ram. Hari Om. Pranam. Terala Benai. Hari Om. Pranam Swamiji. Om Shri Ram. Yes, I am taking everybody. Everybody.
Hari Om Swamiji.
Hari Om.
Hari Om Swamiji. Hari Om Swamiji.